Yo, 95% Rookie here. I'm going to be making another tutorial video. This time it's focused on ALiVE, so it's another longer one. I could cut it down a lot more, but I kind of want to have all that functionality within. So if you want a more concise ALiVE tutorial, there are some out there. But, you know, this is mostly how I set up a mission, so feel free to just relax and watch the whole thing. Yeah, starting now. Alright, in the interest of brevity, I've kind of sped through. I am going to upload a bunch of files with this video, so my mod list and everything will be available, but for now, like, the mod list, I'm not going to go through every mod that I'm using, but essentially it's ALiVE and a bunch of other stuff you can see in the actual list itself. So yeah. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is, obviously, you're going to want to pick a map. For this one in particular, I'm just using Altis. It's fine to use any map essentially with this system as long as it is indexed properly, and you can look that up online. So yeah, pick a map and we're going to be setting up from there. Originally recorded a lot of audio for this, like while I was doing it, but a lot of it was kind of slow and kind of ambles a bit. So I'm going to go over some basic stuff. So essentially, ALiVE allows you to have full-scale map simulation because it allows units to be kind of cached and virtualized. That is AI, our units in Arma 3. And so what ALiVE does is allows those units to be simulated without having the CPU-intensive AI functioning. So you can have a map, full-scale size warfare going on, but, you know, only the area around the player is being actually simulated with CPU-intensive AI and stuff. So you can do, like, any size, like, anywhere on the map, but essentially for this one, I'm going to be doing a smaller scale mission set in a subset of Altis. So I'll set that up first. Okay, so you can kind of skip this part if you already know how I set up missions, but I will do things a little bit differently. So essentially what I do first is I set up the mission name, which, you know, we're going with the operation name and everything. I'm going to speed this up just so this video doesn't take like 2 hours just for one mission. But so yeah, you put the operation name, you can put the credits and everything. For the like the loading screen, we're going to put images.inva.jpg, and this will be in our file structure, you know, included alongside with my upload of the mission file. Essentially, that's just your loading screen, and it's in the right resolution and everything, so you can just edit that file to be whatever you want it to look like. And then, you know, obviously description, we're going to have a three-way war, so we're going to make the factions all be fighting each other. That's how you set that on that sword. Then we're going to have some intro text as well, which essentially allows you to have, like, at the beginning of the game, there'd be a little bit of a thing in the bottom right that says, you know, this is the operation you're playing on. It just has a bit of flair. And then for environment, we're also going to have a dynamic weather mod, which I actually do not have set up in this mission, but it's called Drongo's Weather. So I'm going to add that after this segment. But essentially, it allows you to have dynamic weather. ALiVE has its own version that doesn't really work too well. But yeah, and then we're going to have 3 times map scale, or a time scale for the map, because that allows you to have more night operations and stuff. Okay, now I kind of go over the ACE and CBA settings. I'm going to include a file that has my default settings already included, but you can go through this whole thing, adjust it to your liking. Essentially, if you overwrite the client, that means it'll overwrite the client's settings, which, you know, you'll want the client to have options for, like, UI and stuff like that, but you don't want them to, you know, be able to decide how easy it is to revive people. But then override server will be server-wide settings. So it kind of depends on what settings you want to apply to all missions versus one mission versus just the client. So that's kind of how that works. Okay, apologies, this next part is kind of long. I didn't really want to cut the whole thing, but it basically just explains the file structure. So yeah, what we're doing is we're going into my Arma 3 other profile. So this is in documents. This is where your Arma missions are saved. In documents, wherever your profile is, if it's Arma 3, it'll be in Arma 3, and if you've set a separate profile, it'll be in other profiles. So I have your state, NFP missions. I have a separate folder here, 2023, and we're going to go to first. So I have these other missions running, which use the same settings. So what I do is I copy paste all the files and stuff, just so that I don't have to redo everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy all this, and I'll go through what each of these does. Copy that into this. So starting from top to bottom, GIF set AI skill, and obviously this will all be uploaded, and, you know, hopefully I will keep that up for a long time. If it's not up, you know, you may have to request me to put it up again or whatever. Put it in the comments or whatever, or get in contact with me somehow. But so AI skill, this is a so we're using Notepad Plus to edit all this stuff, by the way. This is a fully customizable. If you want to look into how to use this, there's a bunch of settings for AI. This essentially allows you to set a difficulty for AI before you start the mission. And that applies to all AI units in the mission. So there are multiple ways to handle AI. This is just how I prefer to do it. It allows you to set, you know, if you're playing with like 10 players and you want the AI to be a bit harder, you can set it to hard. And if you're playing with less players, you can set it to easy, and they'll be, you know, more lenient against your players. So that's what this folder does. Now, in images, we have inv.jpg, which is a JPEG of the Arma 3 logo. And this essentially allows you to have a loading screen and stuff. That's all the right resolution and format and everything. And I just use this across. If I ever want to change the actual image, I'll just edit this inv.jpg. Now, description ext. The only things I do in here is I put respawn on start -1, load screen, inv.jpg, enable debug console, and I have this little bit of code is for the AI skill settings. So that's all that does. There's a lot you can do in description ext, you know, but that's kind of outside the scope of this video. So now we're going to go to gear.text. This is where I'll keep gear arrays as far as what I want to add to an arsenal, a limited arsenal. I might go into that, but we may be using an infinite arsenal. If you're interested in the gear stuff, my other Arma tutorial, you may have to skim around, but there is settings on exactly how I run my gear limited arsenal setup if you're interested in that. It's pretty easy to set up, honestly. But yeah, just look into that other Arma 3 tutorial video I did, if you're interested in that. So right now it's empty. It's not really going to be used on this. Init.sqf. So this is where we run our rally point system and our respawn marker. So essentially, I'll go through these now, I guess. Respawn marker.sqf. This is a, what this does is every 60 seconds, this is all customizable. Every 60 seconds, respawn marker, respawn west and respawn east, that is op 4 and blue 4 respectively, or I mean not respectively, whatever, you know what I mean. We'll set the position on unit named SL1 and SL2. So SL2 will be our CSAT or op 4 player squad leader. It's easily, you can put as many units in here as you want. You can also put, you know, SL3 for green 4, which I may do if I'm planning to have green 4 playable. But essentially every 60 seconds, so once this is run on the server in a SQF, every 60 seconds that respawn marker will change its position in a random direction, which is here, random 360, and a random distance, which is 80 plus 20 meters. So 80 meters from 1 to 80 plus 20, that's where the marker will be placed. So essentially what this does is allows you to have a moving respawn marker, but it's not exactly where your player is. So this can lead to, you know, you're placed within a group of enemies, but it also allows you to not respawn directly on top of your squad leader, and you know, makes it a little more dynamic. Anyways, that's pretty simple, so that'll be in the thing. Now what we have next is rallypoint.sqf. This is a bit more advanced code, but it's also modifiable if you know what you're doing. So SL1, this is obviously the squad leader one, and that's what this will add, this action. So this is an ace interaction, which is deploy rally point. This can be, so let me see. So if you get rid of this, you may have to modify it a bit. I haven't really modified it before, but essentially when you have one or more blue 4 infantry unit near you, or whatever faction you have, you'll be able to deploy a rally point. And what that is respawn marker west _2, and then in the other one it's modified to east _2, and that'll allow you to place a permanent spawn point near you, or, you know, on top of your position, which allows for, you know, if you want to set up a little mini base or deployment point, that's what that does. There's a lot of code here that, you know, if you're not really well versed in the scripting side of Arma, it'll be a little confusing. But if you modify and it doesn't work, I can probably help you out. If you know, DM me somehow or get in contact with me somehow, maybe put in the comments. if you're trying to modify and it's not working. It took me a while to get this set up, but it works pretty well for my purposes. That's what Rally Point 2 is the same, just for the OP4 or CSAT unit. And then init player local, what this does is, what does this do? This will actually put a marker on the player when they go unconscious, which means basically, you know, if your friend is wounded, you'll see on the map, oh, this person is wounded, or, you know, they're unconscious. So they aren't just left unconscious for like 5 minutes while they bleed out. Although I don't think this will work with the current, you know, maybe we'll get rid of this for now. I'll keep it in there. If it gives me issues, I'll get rid of it, because, you know, it is useful if you're using ACE with the medical system. But, you know, without that, I don't know if it's very useful. Init server. Now, this is also just, this is credits and stuff for the, I didn't make the AI skill system. This other guy made it. So it's basically credits for the person who made it, you know. Okay, for this next part, I just placed down a cover map module, which basically just boxes in the map to a smaller area, so you don't, like, you know, you're not distracted by the area of the map that you're not actually playing on. And then I kind of add a game master module, which is pretty simple. You just type in #admin logged, and that allows whoever is the admin on the server to play as the Zeus. Keep that there. We'll put down an ALiVE required. Well, we're going to edit this as we go. Server distribution, we'll keep it on server. All this should be good. Garbage interval, I like to put that up to 600. Just so you have some more time to loot bodies before they disappear. Well, you know what? Yeah, that's good. So ALiVE required, place that down there. ALiVE data, so these are the required modules for it. ALiVE data. We're gonna have database source local. Now there's a cloud thing you can set up. I messed with it before. Wasn't really too impressed with it. I also just keep it on local now, and I don't really use the cloud or website features, honestly. Maybe they're better now than they were before, but they were kind of buggy, and I didn't really see much benefit to it. Like tracking stats and stuff is cool, but I just couldn't really. I was having issues with it, essentially. Maybe I'll try it out some other time. Maybe you can too if you feel like it, but for now we're going to keep it on local. Save mission time, we're going to say yes. Save roadblocks outposts, yes, I suppose. Enable chat kill feed, no. All this stuff is good, I think. Now we're going to go to player options. And I think all this is good. We're going to keep max view distance to 2,000. Just because, you know, virtualized units are only 1,500 meters away, so you don't want players being able to see far away and be like, oh, there's no enemies there, but then they spawn in, you know, later on. That just keeps performance good. Persist player state, yes. I think all this is good. The only thing I will put is allow different class rejoin, because, you know, I want to be able to do that. And store position, no, because otherwise you'll just spawn. You know, if you switch sides, you'll spawn as the other side where your blue 4 soldier was. So I think everything else is good. Now let's put down the virtual AI system, which is also vital. So spawn radius 1,500. I think this is all good. Only virtualized synced units. Yes, that's all good. Persistent, we're gonna keep it on persistent. UAV radius, blah, blah, blah. Active limiter, that's all good. I think this is all good. You can mess with this stuff to make the game go slower in terms of, you know, map conquest and stuff. But for now, this is all good. And the virtual, what each of these does, you know, ALiVE required is just the base module. ALiVE data affects, like, you know, stuff within the mission being saved. Player options is, you know, obviously player options, and virtual AI system will, you know, this affects how AI spawn and stuff like that. So what for this particular, let's put down Drongo's dynamic weather. Let's put a weight. So these are all, you know, each of these is a weight for the type of weather you get. I'm gonna put down sunny at 4 weight, so it'll be more likely sunny. We're gonna make this cycle 600 seconds. This is in seconds, I believe. So, you know, 60 seconds or 600 seconds to straight change weather. And that's good, so let's keep that to the side here. And then let's go to ALiVE again. And what we're going to go to is, let's go with civilian placement. I do like having civilians on the mission. It makes it a little dynamic. So let's go with civilian placement first. We're going to ignore tiny objectives. So objectives is kind of, how to say this? It's essentially like a area with buildings and stuff that allows units to spawn and also gives the AI objectives to capture, essentially. So we're gonna have a TAOR marker, and we'll make that map 1. We'll name that after, but essentially they'll spawn within TAOR, which is you know, on the map itself. So within the marker named map 1, which I'll show you after, it will spawn AI units or civilian units, or rather objectives with units on them. Blacklist marker will keep that the same. Blacklist basically means it won't spawn them where they are, where that marker is. So factions, you can change AI factions, but we're going to keep it on a default. Placement level low, that's good. Placement, place ambient vehicles, will have low ambient vehicles. Just, I do like to have civilian vehicles in areas occasionally, just because that allows, you know, if your vehicle gets broken down, there's the chance you'll be able to find a civilian vehicle to get you out of there. I think that's all good. Civilian population, now this is important. Spawn radius 900, that's good. Active limiter, let's put it on 15 for performance sake. Blue 4 hostility, good. Let's make Op 4 hostility medium and independent hostility high. That just adds some, you know, stuff going on. Enable interaction, no, we're not doing any interaction stuff. There's a crowd radius thing, and I find that just like tanks performance, and it's kind of weird because every time you walk into a town, you'll just be surrounded by like 50 guys. We're gonna disable the crowd radius by putting spawn radius on 0. Humanitarian, all this stuff is the same. None of this should really affect anything because I don't have anything set up where the AI can, like, you know, suicide bomb me or whatever. There's a lot of functionality in ALiVE for asymmetric stuff, and I've messed around with it in the past. Some of it works okay, some of it works not so okay. But, you know, if you want to mess with that, you can look into the tutorials and stuff online. I'm sure people have made stuff on that. So that's for civilians. Now, what we're going to go to is... let's see. We're going to go to Military AI Commander. So this is where we place our Blue 4 units first. We'll place Blue 4 first. So... Military Commander. Now you can have override factions, which, you know, blue NATO, if you didn't know, is blue_F. So we'll put that as an override. We'll make max simultaneous attacks 2 to slow it down. So that basically means they won't be able to attack more than 2 objectives at the same time. Now let's see. Let's have control type on invasion. There's invasion, occupation, asymmetric. We're not going over asymmetric, but occupation essentially means they're more defensive, just trying to control the territory they have and attack out if they have the opportunity, but they'll focus on defense. Invasion is more, they'll focus on assaulting everywhere on the map. So, persistent, let's keep this persistent, yes. Installations, unused. Roadblocks, yes, but it doesn't really matter because asymmetric is off. Now, reinforcements will be constant. You can make this so they'll get less reinforcements. We'll put it on constant, I think. Intel, none. Faction, this is overridden by override faction. So now that's the AI commander. So what we're going to place now is a civilian objective module. So civilian objective module, we're going to put TAOR marker on blue_1. That'll be our marker for that. We're going to ignore, we're not going to filter any objectives. Since this is a smaller area, we'll have a lot of objectives on the map. We're going to have, I think, a company of 100 soldiers is good. We're going to have it be a motorized focus. And readiness 100%, roadblocks none. All this is good, I think. And then faction down here, we're gonna want to put blue_F, and that'll basically be NATO. So this is for civilian objectives, which is essentially, you know, towns, things of that nature. Now we're going to put down that marker. So we go to over here, markers. We're going to go to areas. We're going to go to rectangle here. And we're going to make sure it's within this zone. First off, actually, let's put down a map 1 marker. Oh, whoops, fuck that up. Put down map. There we go. Now let's call this map_1 because I think that's what we called our civilian placement. Yeah, map_1. So that is the entire map essentially. We're gonna make that invisible. There we go. Now we're gonna go to civilian placement. Blue_1 is what it's called. So let's go and set the blue for area of responsibility. We're gonna have it be. Oh, so I messed up again. Like this, I think. And we're gonna have this called blue_1. We're gonna make that invisible as well. And then now we're gonna place down a military marker or a military objective, and we're gonna make this 100 as well, and we're gonna make this mechanized. And then we're gonna go down here, blue_F. TOR marker, blue_1. Do not filter, and I think that's all good. The random caps, we're gonna keep that off. Force weighting, mechanized, that's yeah, okay, that's all good. I think create HQ, we're gonna create a field HQ, I think. Ambient vehicles, that's good. Yeah, I think that's good. Now we're gonna put the military objective. Let's have the HQ be somewhere around here. And what we're gonna do is sync this stuff to the. Actually, no, we'll save the syncing for. So essentially, because this is set on the same faction that this military AI commander controls, which is blue_F, that means that it doesn't really matter if this is synced up to other AI commanders, because this is placing blue 4 units in this area, it'll be under the control of this AI commander, because they control any units that are under the faction blue_F. So as long as they'll have to be synced, but we'll sync it all at the end because it's easier. Now let's set our independent faction. So let's make a. Oh, actually, let's also do a logistics module. Military logistics. Let's make reinforcements 500. Allow infantry. Air transport is a bit iffy. I've had a lot of issues in the past little while running with air transport. I think we're going to disable that because I've just had issues with it. Like, they'll spawn in and they won't drop troops off, and they'll get stuck and they'll just stay on the map and lag it because there's helicopters being spawned in but not deleted. I've had issues with it, so I'm going to keep, and we're going to set to this faction only. Although this doesn't matter because they shouldn't be using air transport anyways. But so yeah, we're not going to have air transport. They should be coming in via the ground, which is what I want. So yeah, and then we're going to sync that to our AI commander. And then I think this is all good. Let's put it on persistent. Persistent essentially means when you save the mission, it'll save that feature. Now let's go to military AI commander. We're gonna have the capital be Empiricos, obviously. So this faction will be, I think, AAF is ind_F. I'll show you how to check that in a second. I think it's an ind_F. 2 simultaneous attacks. It doesn't matter what this faction is because it'll be overridden by override factions. Reinforcements, let's go to packets. Roadblocks, no. Invasion, let's put this on occupation. Persistent, yes. And then let's go with a military civ. Actually, no, first we'll show you how to check the faction. So we'll go to config viewer up here, tools, config viewer. We're going to go down to config faction classes, and this is where you can check faction names. So if we go to ind_F, and then it says AAF, so that is the AAF That's what I want. So ind underscore F. And that's good. So let's go to civilian placement. Let's make this TOR marker map underscore 1. And we're going to make blacklist marker blue underscore 1 and red underscore 1. Essentially, that means they'll be placed everywhere within the map marker except for blue underscore 1 and red underscore 1. We're going to ignore... this is for civilian objectives, so this is the entire map. So let's do not filter, and let's just see how that turns out. We may have to modify this, obviously, if there's too many units everywhere. And then we have, so place units. Let's keep them at company strength as well. We want them to be a little under strength for the area they control. Force weighting, let's make this light infantry. And then we'll make mechanized on the military objectives. That's good. Control everything. So let's make this ind underscore F. You can check those factions for any modded faction as long as it works with ALiVE. Some factions don't. Like, you know, depends. And then we have our military objective. Same thing. We're going to put ind underscore F. We're going to put field HQ, all that stuff. We're going to put that military objective here. Or here, rather. That's good. Let's see this place. Let's make it a company again. Force weighting, mechanized. That'll be a bit more tanks and stuff. And then we're going to do a logistics module. Let's make it 500 again. And no air transport. And I think that's all they're looking at. Persistent. Make sure to put persistent on everything if you plan to save the mission and continue it later. And then now we're going to... I'll show you how to do a custom objective as well. Let's do that now. Let's make a custom objective for the independent. Essentially what this is so objective priority 50 is good. I think 50 could be kind of high. Actually, I don't know if I want to show you how to do this. It's kind of complicated because you have to look into like the actual, so objective size I believe is in meters, but I could be wrong about that. Objective priority is priority, and I can set custom, you know, units and stuff. I think we're gonna keep it off for now because it's a little bit annoying to work with. I don't want to debug it and stuff. So you can use custom objectives to place at individual areas where there's not already an objective. You know, it's kind of useful in that way. So we're gonna do the OP4. They're gonna be stationed up here. So let's go to ALiVE modules, ALiVE military AI commander. We're gonna make this override Fox factions op. What is it? Op. What's the default? Actually, if I place down a civilian module, op F underscore F. That's what we want to use. Op F underscore F. Invasion. Everything is good here. Let's make it persistent. Make it 2 attacks. And I put that on this as well. Yeah, 2 attacks. I just double check that I have the right units placed. Yeah. That's all good. And then, okay, civilian placement. So let's make this TOR marker red underscore 1. We're going to place that in a sec. Let's ignore, let's not filter any objectives. Let's make it a company of 100, and let's make it motorized as well. As same as the blue 4 for the civilian. And then we already have the right faction. So let's go to here. And then, yeah, that's good. And then let's place down that marker. Make it red underscore 1. And we'll make it invisible. And then we'll place down a military objective. And we'll go to company size as well, and let's make it mechanized. And TOR marker red _1. Op 4 is already placed, so that's good. I think we're all good for that, and I think we're pretty much ready to start syncing, although we do need a logistics for Op 4. Let's keep it at 500. Enable air transport off. Persistent, yes. And then we're good for that. Let's sync that. Now to sync all these objectives, so we'll select all on the side here. Connect, sync. Sync. And then sync all those to that. You're going to sync it to each military AI commander, and that'll basically make them aware of each objective on the map. So it doesn't matter that they're being synced to ones that they don't control, because those factions are associated with that commander. Wherever those units are placed, that's where that commander will command those troops from. And then we're going to sync it to the Blue 4 commander. There we go. So that's all synced up. As you can see, kind of a triangle there. It's a three-way war. Now let's see other modules we can place down. There's a lot of stuff you can put in here. We're going to put C2I star, which is a basically an objective generator, and allows you to do a bunch of stuff. But let's make laser designator. I think that's fine for a thing you need. So if you have a laser designator with this class name, that essentially means you can access the C2I star menu. Persistent task, let's put DS. I'm not going to do auto tasking. Now, one problem I have with ALiVE is this C2I star is kind of broken in a lot of ways. Now, a lot of it does work and it's nice, but some of these objectives and stuff just kind of break a lot. So, you know, they work well enough for like a basic objective, but a lot of it is kind of frustrating. So I generally don't use it too much. But you know, it's useful sometimes. This is all good, I think. There's a lot of settings here. You can do like trace system, which allows you to place down, you know, what do you call it? What am I thinking? Allows you to see like a grid system, where enemies are or are not. So like you basically have to, you clear the red squares in the map essentially. I think this is good for intel and stuff like that. Friendly coverage, no, let's keep that off. I think this is all good. So C2I star. What else? There's combat logistics, combat support, stuff like that you can add. I'm not going to have any of that on for now. May add it as the scenario goes on. But I think for now that's good enough for some. So what we need to do is place down our player units and stuff. So because this is a three-way faction war, what we're going to do is we're going to start with Blue 4, then we're going to do Op 4. So this is kind of where I think our HQ will be. This area here. Let's make it the beach over here. This little beach town. This little beach little resort thing. So we're going to place down our players. Which, you know, this is usable in single player and multiplayer. So what if we go up to multiplayer here, enable AI will basically, any AI units marked as playable will not spawn if this is ticked off. So if you want to play with an AI squad, you can, you know, tick this on and, wait, what? Are we not on the right? Oh wait, I guess okay, yeah, we didn't do the multiplayer stuff. Right, okay, I didn't select multiplayer stuff. So first off, let's go through the multiplayer settings. Game type cooperative, 0 to 16, doesn't really matter here. Summary, let's say ALiVE operation. Enable AI, I'm going to turn that off just because if I have an AI squad, I prefer to spawn them in using Zeus rather than have them at the start. Now we're going to go to custom position settings. So these are, we're going to have select respawn position and respawn in wave. So that essentially means players will respawn in a wave and the respawn position will be selectable if there are multiple respawn positions. That's pretty useful. Respawn delays make it 30 seconds. Obviously all this you can customize to your liking. And then, so yeah, we're going to place down the Blue 4 first. We're going to go to NATO, infantry, let's sit down a rifle squad just as a base playable unit thing. We're gonna make these all playable. It's already playable. Marksman playable. Playable. Might be a way to do this for the entire group, save some time, but whatever. Now we're gonna make Blue 4 SL1. Essentially, this will be where the respawn marker and the rally point system are functioning from. So next we're gonna place down our respawn markers, and we have 3 of them to place down. So first off, let's go to flag. Place this down here. This will be respawn west. If I remember correctly, that means this will be our rally point. Let me double check that in our actual rally point system. So the marker that is referenced is respawn west _2. So respawn west _2 will be our rally point, and then in my respawn marker, respawn west without any underscore will be our moving squad marker. So what we're going to do for that, just so the players don't know exactly where they are, I like to use a GPS system and stuff. You can obviously, if you want to know where the squad is, you can make this a visible marker, but if you select empty system marker, and this will basically be invisible on the map, but you'll see it in the editor, so it's useful. Respawn west. Man, my voice is getting a little sore. We got respawn west, and then we got flag here. Let's make this respawn west 1. This will be our base. Blue, let's put this as NATO base. Now this marker will not move. This will basically be, you'll always be able to respawn at base if you know, if you're overwhelmed or you just want to go back to base for whatever reason. And then we have making another invisible one. This will be respawn west 2, and this will be rally point. This will be known as squad leader. So these will be named, these spawn points will be named what these are named in the editor. So there, we have Blue 4 spawn set up. Now let's set up an arsenal. We're not going to do a custom arsenal for this, we're just going to have an unlimited arsenal. There's a bunch of code involved with that, for scripting. So if you just Google Arma 3 Ace Arsenal, there's an arsenal framework that will come up, and essentially I'll show you the exact code that I'm going to be pasting. Actually, I'll put this text that I'm using in the put it in the gear.txt if you want to just copy paste that if you have this. So here is the code. So let's first place down a box. So NATO, search up NATO, go to supply box NATO. This actually has a bunch of gear in it. If you want to have a limited arsenal, like I said, check out my other video. I think I explain it in there. Otherwise, I can show you somehow, like maybe with a YouTube short or some shit, if people request it. So this true, this will be referencing the box, and true means it will be calling all items in the world into this box. So it's an unlimited arsenal essentially, using the Ace arsenal system, which in my opinion is superior to the vanilla arsenal system. So put this box here. Maybe we'll place down 2 of them, and essentially that allows you, the player will be able to spawn in, get their gear, and then move out. These are sling loadable as well, so if you wanted to move an arsenal somewhere with a helicopter, you can do that. Okay, so I think now we can also just place down some vehicles. So let's see, let's place down some NATO vehicles. Mat V, let's put that. You can give them whatever vehicles you want, obviously. Truck. Let's make a Blair Stagger and a Matt V with an HMG. Yeah, that just gives some, you know, vehicular options for Blue 4. I'm going to do the exact same thing for Op 4, but I'm probably going to cut it out because there's nothing really that needs to change for that, other than, you know, you'll be making the East markers. Actually, you know what? Why would I bother cutting it out? This is already going to be a long video, so whatever. Let's make this the Op 4 base. Right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to place down our Op 4 squad. Rifle squad. And they look nice and cool, thanks to the CSAT rearmed, or whatever, CSAT modification project. Let's see if we can make this all playable. Any way to make this all these units playable? Doesn't look like it. Oh, here we go. Playable. There, now the whole group is playable. Just saves us some extra time. Now what we're going to place down is, let's get that, those supply boxes. Paste these down. Place it under cover so it's not going to rain on them. Let's make these CSAT supply boxes. Oops, that's the wrong thing. CSAT supply boxes. Actually, let's make it Iran. CSAT Iran. There we go. Now we have arsenals for the Op 4. And then we'll place down some vehicles, and then we'll do the respawn system. Put down a Maz transport. Put down a Caratel HMG, and a LSV Mark II. That's good for that. Now let's put down our respawn system. It's essentially the same as the Blue 4 respawn. Actually, this is outside of our operations area. Let's make this somewhere closer. Make it over here, I guess. And then now we just need to make down the markers. So, like I said before, it'll be the same thing. Let's put respawn east. East essentially is Op 4. Yeah. So respawn underscore east underscore 2, I believe, is our underscore 1, I think is our. Let's check that again. Respawn west. Respawn underscore 2 is our rally point, so it'll be underscore 1. And this is CSAT base. I don't know if I'm going to have green 4 be playable, but it's super easy to set up. Just for the interest of time, this is going to just set up our Op 4 versus Red 4, and Green 4 will just kind of be the garbage faction you fight. I like the AAF, obviously, but, you know, I don't want to really set it up because it's essentially exactly the same setting up. This stuff, you know, just you're switching the tag for, instead of east, you're doing it with Guerrilla, and you'll have to modify those other rally point systems and stuff to account for that. If you have any questions about that, I can put it into the secondary video somehow, or you know, just tell you in text if you put it in the comment of this. So respawn east 1, CSAT base, make this Op 4 colored, and then we're gonna have the empty markers, the respawn east, which will be squad leader, and then we'll have another empty one, and this will be respawn east 2, which will be rally point. And then obviously you need to name our squad leader SL2, and that's the whole, I mean, that is basically the whole mission set up right there. So that's probably the end of the making of. I'll do like a a kind of a let's play just to show you how to play ALiVE. Afterwards, that'll be a second part. Just because, like, you know, it'll show you how you're gonna have fun in this sandbox and how to balance it and stuff like that. So for now, that's that video. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll talk to you in the next one probably. I don't know how heavily edited this video will be, but yeah. All right. Apologies for that last segment. It was just a long, unedited segment. There was just so much like you know, minor stuff. I didn't really want to edit any of it out because, you know, a lot of it, if you're just building a scenario, you know, hopefully it wasn't too long for people who watch, but you know, if you stuck around, then thanks for watching. Yeah, the next part will be shorter, obviously, because we're just testing, and then I'm going to have some gameplay segments just showing what you can do in ALiVE in a single player sense, or maybe even a co-op if I can get some friends to play. So yeah, thanks for watching. See ya.